Now, as we get ready to jump into the topic of data warehousing, let's first go over the two main database types that you're going to hear about, and I want you to understand what people are telling you about these databases when they mention these types. The first is an OLTP, and that stands for Online Transaction Processing. The next type is OLAP, that stands for Online Analytical Processing. Now understand, we're talking about two completely different data structures when we're talking about these two database types. Structure is determined directly by the data storage requirements and, more importantly, the retrieval requirements of that data. Now let's take a look at these individually. First of all, an OLTP database is designed for data entry and manipulation. We want to be able to put data in really quickly with minimal locking. We want to be able to update, manipulate our data with minimal locking, and so OLTP takes care of that. This is what's normally used in day-to-day business operation with most production databases. Now, if the term normalized data confuses you or brings up any questions, I would strongly recommend you go out and read a little bit about normalization in databases, although if you're coming to a data warehousing class, you're probably pretty familiar with this concept. But this is highly normalized data, lots of tables, lots of relationships. And an OLTP is usually concerned with current or relatively new data. Now this will be affected by the product you're selling or the service you're offering. If you're selling 49-cent widgets of some type, then relatively or current new data might be the previous 30 days. If you're selling jet airliners or battleships, then current or relatively new data could be the last 2 years. So that's going to be dictated by your data and the nature of your business. Now understand that the most common database type out there is OLTP. When someone says, I work with databases, or I manage a database, if they didn't say anything else to modify that word database, they're probably talking about an OLTP database. Now let's move to OLAP. An OLAP or an OLAP database, notice, is also known as a data warehouse. Now data warehouses are designed totally differently from OLTP databases because they are designed not to put data in and manipulate data really quickly, but for data collection and analysis. In other words, we want to execute some complex queries against this database and get some real quick results back. So that's the main topic we're looking for. That's the main focus. Now, usually OLAP or data warehouse databases are concerned with historical statistical information. We're trying to glean from our past data records what's hot, what the trends are, what we need to be focusing on in the future, where our weak points were. But generally, we're not trying to drill down to the day-to-day transactions. We're looking for trends, and we're looking for kind of coagulated or rolled up or summed up information. Now, the data in these warehouses is not normalized the way a traditional OLTP relational format is. We tend to denormalize the data. We tend to roll it up, pre-sum it, do all sorts of things to it to make it easier to pull the data that we need. We're not usually concerned with the very minute detail of individual transactions, although you can include some if you determine that that's what you need. Now, the OLAP is the focus of the 70-463 exam, or data warehouses. And so we're going to drill into these things and go through it and help you get prepared for this 70-463 exam. So I just wanted you to see the two different types and understand when someone mentions the term OLAP or OLTP, you now know exactly what they're telling you about the database and the requirements and the managerial responsibilities that have to take place with that database.